we're going to review solving using the quadratic formula. I decided not to review completing the square. If that is your go-to or you'd like some individual tutoring on that, please let me know. All right, so the quadratic formula should be pretty simple as long as we follow the steps in the order of operations. So in this case, I would kind of go back and say, let's identify the A value as 1, B value is 4, and the C value this time is a negative 21. And it's important, as always, that we pay very close attention to the negatives. All right, so here we go. I know that the answer is going to be found by simply plugging these things in. So negative B makes a negative 4, plus and minus. I'm going to get rid of this graph paper. I don't need it anymore. A negative 4 plus and minus the square root of B, which is 4, squared, minus a 4 times a 1 times a negative 21. And right away, I'm noticing that that negative is going to turn this minus into a plus. All divided by 2 times 1. And that's it. I guess now I just need to do the math correct, and then I have the answer. So between you using a calculator and paying attention to details, this should be pretty straightforward. 4 squared we know is 16. Minus a negative is ultimately going to make it a plus. 4 times 21 is 84. Divided by 2. Next up, x equals negative 4 plus and minus the square root of 100 divided by 2. There are some of you out there that are trying to divide by 2 at this stage. You cannot divide 100 by 2 because that isn't 100. It's the square root of 100. So the best, safest, only thing you can really do is wait to the very end to divide. So I'm going to get negative 4 plus and minus 10 divided by 2. So what does this mean? This means my answer is going to equal negative 4 plus 10 divided by 2. And my answer is going to equal negative 4 minus 10 divided by 2. So that's going to give me 6 over 2, which of course is 3. And this is going to give me negative 14 over 2, which of course is negative 7. So that was using the quadratic formula. If we go back and look at the exact same problem with factoring, we can see we got the answer very, very quickly with minimal work. So if you're a good factorer, then that's going to get you the answer faster. All right, but the quadratic formula will always work if we pay close attention. All right, next up, identify your parts. A is 2, B is negative 5, and C is negative 12. All right, so x equals negative b, so that's 5, plus and minus the square root of 5 squared minus 4 times 2 and negative 12. You will notice that I did 5 squared instead of negative 5 squared, simply because it doesn't matter, because I'm about to square whatever that number is, and that will always be a positive. And the whole thing's divided by 2a, which is 2 times 2. X equals 5 plus and minus the square root of 25 minus a negative is a plus. 8 times 12, I could do in my head, but I just want to make sure I get the answer right. Let's try that again because I did it wrong. 96. Keep doing the math. Plus or minus the square root of. Add 25 and you're going to get 121. And then the square root of 121 is 11. So you have 5 plus or minus 11 divided by 4. Meaning my answer is going to be either 5 plus 11 divided by 4, 5 minus 11 divided by 4. So that's 16 over 4, so that's just 4. This one is 5 minus 11, which is going to be negative, what, 6 over 4, which are both divisible by 2, so I can divide the 2 out of both, and I get negative 3 halves. Once again, this is the same problem that we did with factoring. And again, depending how good you are at factoring, the answer comes relatively quickly as a factoring problem. All right. Next one. A equals 4, B equals negative 12, C equals negative 1, X equals negative B is positive 12, plus or minus 12 squared minus 4 times A is 4 and a negative 1. And divided by 2 times 4. 12 plus or minus the square root of 144 plus, because we have a minus and negative, 16 over 8. X equals 12 plus and minus 144, 154, 160 over 8. All right, at this stage, we should recognize that we cannot take the square root of 160 and get a nice pretty whole number. And so we're going to have to come up with a plan B. Our plan B could be we leave it as a simplified square root, or we use our calculator and we get an approximate answer. So simplified would mean I just need to try to take the square root of 160. So 160 is the square root of 16 and the square root of 10, because 16 times 10 is 160. And so that gives me 4 square root of 10, because 10 cannot be simplified. So the simplified answer would be x equals 12 plus and minus 4 root 10 divided by 8. And now I would just reduce my fractions. So 4 goes into 12 and 8. 4 goes into 4 and 8. So I can give a better answer of basically I'm dividing both terms by 8. So 12 divided by 8 can be reduced to 4 goes into that. So 3. And 4 goes into that one time. And so I get this answer. Looking at that a slightly different way, because that felt a little bit awkward, we could just do 12 divided by 8 plus and minus 4 root 10 divided by 8, and then reduce each one separately. 12 divided by 8 is going to be, once again, 3 over 2, and 4 over 8 is a half, and we are done. You cannot divide the 10 by the 2 because it is not a 10. It is a square root of 10. If you're going to round your answer, then that's fine. So then we're just going to turn it into x equals 12 plus or minus, and the square root of 160 on our calculator is 12.649. So, and that is divided by 8. So I have one answer of 12 plus 12.649 divided by 8. And I have another answer of 12 minus 12.649 divided by 8. So this one's going to be around 20. The first one's going to be around 24 divided by 8, right? But let's get the right answer. I'm going to add 12 and divide by 8. So that is approximately 3.081. This one's going to be very close to 0 because it's 12 minus 12-ish. It's going to be a negative number. 12 minus 12.649 is obviously going to be negative 0.649, and divided by 8 is going to be a very small number. X is approximately equal to negative 0.081 and some change. So either of these two would be fine. Just make sure you do either of them correctly. All right, so that